I'll start off with a show that has somehow made its way into one of my favorite anime of the past decade, and one that gives off an all-around uncontested feel-good quality to me. Granblue Dreaming was an anime that aired from July 14th to September 29th in the summer season of 2018 and was based off the comedy manga of the same name. The manga was written by Kenji Inoue, who wrote the light novel and manga versions of Baka and Test, and illustrated by Kimitake Yoshioka, who among other things is known for producing the art of the Yamagi Brilliant Park manga. Granblue follows Iori Kitahara, a young man entering university and excited for college life. Iori arrives at his uncle's dive shop, Granblue, where he will be staying, but quickly becomes entangled in the diving club's hijinks and ends up joining. Kenji Inoue setting Granblue in college was a pretty magical thing in my opinion. I mean, not every high school comedy anime is bad, but it's gotten to the point that we're definitely oversaturated with them. Stage 1 is peak relatability. You're in high school, so you get it. Stage 2, you've been out of high school for a while, and these kids are getting a little unrelatable. Stage 3 comes back full circle, where you can relate with them again because now you have kids in high school. Anyway, while the diving club feels like it's marketed to be a big part of the show, most of the time it falls on the back burner, and the comedic daily college life of the cast is at the center stage. Some portions of the show, however, will include diving subplots and run over some diving trivia, and the diving aspects of the show would prove to facilitate some of the series' few sweet and character-driven moments. You and I both know that's not the main goal of the show, though.
じゃあさ、いおり。
はい。
エッチしようか。ドキブキ、この子も最高。
気に入ったようで何よりだ。すげえいつだ。
Yoshioka's art in the manga was able to sell the comedy, jumping from clean line work to exaggerated facial expressions, thick lines, and an all-around bold aura that commanded your attention. Transitioning into animation, which allowed for movement and voice acting, lent itself to much of the over-the-top comedy. The anime was produced by Zero G, a studio whose work I was fairly unfamiliar with, and directed by Shinji Takamatsu, who had also directed anime like Daily Lives of High School Boys and Haven't You Heard, I'm Sakamoto. Breaking down the cast besides Iori, we have Kohei, an unabashed otaku that becomes part of the diving club against his will, and much like Iori finds himself constantly mixed up with the diving club's boisterous antics. While Iori and Kohei spend most of their screen time as rivals in hilarious circumstances, they aren't above joining forces when necessary. From taking it upon themselves to help someone who is in need, to sabotaging one of their friends from getting laid out of spite.
俺にはお前しかいないから。
本当に？
来ちゃった。お前ってたまによくわからん特技を隠し持ってるよね。
いるんでしょ？どうして出てきてくれないの？あの夜、私に好きって言ってくれたのは嘘だったの？さようなら。もう二度と連絡してこないで。待って。
Shinji Tokita and Ryujiro Kotobuki are two senior dive club members who I think of as the backbone of the show in a way because while being buff crazy guys end up becoming a sort of role model for Iori and Kohei, and more often than not are either instigating or a large part of their insanity, which usually involves copious amounts of alcohol.
助かります。
その酒ならお前らも満足できるだろう。
As much as Granblue wouldn't be the same without Kohei and Iori, I can easily say the same for these two. They're just such crucial members of the squad, and the best way for me to describe them is imagine the Body Improvement Club from Mob Psycho squished into two people with a healthy heaping dose of chaotic good. Moving along, Chisa is Iori's cousin who is also part of the dive team and from a misunderstanding in the first episode spends most of her time unappreciative of Iori's shenanigans. Chisa does act as a major point in the series though, as she is really connected to diving and helps keep that facet of the show relevant for the audience and affords her and Iori some genuine moments to spend together with the cast. She, also has a sister that's in love with her, so, if you're into that, yeah. Some good One-sama energy. And none of that pussy not related by blood stuff. No, we're talking full-blood relation, my dude. There are other great characters with things they add to the show, such as the bashful Aina, and the devilishly lascivious Azusa. But I think I've said enough. I'd rather you experience for yourself what makes the dynamics and interactions of the cast so great. While being over the top, these characters feel like real-life people you might have known in college, and each character interacts with the group in a different way. For me personally, Grand Blue was a show that gave me a genuine laugh at least once per episode and always left me with this odd, bizarre feeling of fulfillment. Like, somehow I was actually part of this crazy friend group as well and experiencing their crazy journeys with them. I have this weird, unexplainable nostalgia to this show, and it isn't even 2 years old yet. It might just be the setting or the characters. Or it might be something more profound, because I can't personally watch this show and not be in a good mood. In fact, just grabbing clips and pictures for this video while editing on my phone, I constantly found myself laughing as if reminiscing of good times with old friends. And that might not sound particularly amazing, but I'm currently recovering from a painful surgery and someone important to me passed away recently, so it's pretty hard to get a smile out of me right now. I'm not trying to turn this into a sob story or anything. In fact, it feels wrong even mentioning stuff like that, but it's the most poignant way I could express how impactful this goofy comedy about a bunch of dumbasses really was to me even almost 2 years later. Of course, I don't expect everyone to have a deep connection to a show like this. There's a good chance I might be in a minority. But this show just has this peculiar ability to bring me to a happy place, and nothing can demonstrate this better than the opening song. Listening to it, I'm instantly transported to a tropical island paradise, and I can imagine myself getting drunk with the gang and losing myself in some crazy adventures. I highly recommend checking this show out if you need a pick-me-up or are looking for something different than the generic high school comedy. At the very least, I suggest checking out the opening if you want to be swept away into a summer adventure and forget your troubles for a few minutes. Listen to the full version if you have the time. Links to both that and the TV opening in the description. Also, a dive suit that's an Evangelion reference? What more could you want?